Hey everybody, welcome to the Cheshire Cast. I am your host, Corey.
And I am your host, Patricia.
Almost no delay that time. She's getting better. She improves every week. So stay tuned for every show to find out how much better Tricia gets. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for attending this episode of the Cheshire Cast. We are out of here. Bye.
Attending, huh? Checking in.
I think I ended prematurely. It's that kind of day, by the way.
It's been that kind of entendre for the last 15 minutes.
How are you, Tricia?
It was over before it started, Corey. I'm good.
Yep. A lot of people I know have had that experience.
It's Thursday. Thursday, guys.
Yeah.
It's Thursday. I don't know what date. It's still in May.
I'm in a mood today.
A Thursday kind of mood. Does Thursday get so it gets the shaft as for the week goes. It's not hump day. It's not Friday.
You're
it's not like
accusing me of making
Monday.
Double entendres.
There was no double entendre.
There wasn't?
No.
Hey everybody. I'm Corey. I'm your host. This is Cheshire Cast.
And go. Action.
Hey everybody. This is Cheshire Cast. I'm your host, Corey.
And I'm your host, Tricia.
And it's one of them days. It's another day for the show.
It is.
It's like Groundhog Day.
It's day 357 of Connecticut stay-at-home orders.
Hey everybody. Welcome to Cheshire Cast. I'm Corey.
No more.
It's Groundhog Day. No more and then.
Some days it does feel like that, though. I'll give you that much. Some days are better than others. Today's been a good day. The weather's been beautiful. Gardening.
I was looking forward to this show because I knew that I was going to get to do tonight's episode with not only you, but another friend of mine. I'm going to tease her too. I'm going to say Liz Linehan.
Linehan. I fixed it quick.
Hurts, man.
I know.
You.
But you know,
so
at this point now, I
that.
just do it to tease you.
I know you do. My speaker does that, actually.
Yeah.
If it was Linehan, it would be
me.
Lineahan. Linehan.
Yeah, it's Liz.
Lynn.
It's Liz.
Yeah.
Liz Linehan. And my friend. And you know what? I'd rather introduce you as my friend because then people don't get so uppity about like your role in our government because you know, I don't I'm not like state rep. My friend State Rep Liz just sounds weird.
I know it sounds weird to me too. Actually,
yeah.
I would
still not used to it.
Being just called your friend. I think that the title makes me feel like I should be different than who I am, and
you need on like a gray wig, a powdered wig.
I just shouldn't be all. I can't be uptight ever, and I just think that the title sounds so uptight.
Well, we didn't officially give the title, which I'm going to do now because you deserve it. You earn it. You are a member of the Connecticut House of Representatives. You're representing District 103. Yes?
Woo-hoo, the best district in all the land.
And that touches on a parts of Cheshire, not mine. Prospect.
Sorry.
Yes?
No.
Where?
Nope.
Who are you?
It's
We just had Chester
Southington.
cut on. So.
Yeah. Oh, I love them. I represent parts of Cheshire, Southington, and Wallingford.
Cheshire, Southington, and Wallingford. So northern Cheshire, I would assume that because that would touch Southington and Wallingford. That
I have the most gerrymandered district.
Okay.
If you look at it, it's actually shaped sort of like a stomach. Like it's very weird. But it's gerrymandered. This is the honest to God truth. It was gerrymandered to fit Al Adinolfi, who held the seat before me, which is nothing to say negative about him. It's just kind of the way it goes. So he was elected during redistricting years. And when they redistricted him, they, made it more favorable towards people in his political party. So that's why it shaped so weird.
Al Adinolfi was also a friend of mine, and may he rest in peace. God bless him.
Yeah, he's missed greatly. Actually, we did a little retrospective of Al, and now that we're not in the legislature anymore, I can't even put it up. And so I did a little mailer about him and talked to his family about it. But yes, he was a very nice man who was always hilarious with me.
Mm-hmm.
He would always try
it's
to
the
get
best
me
way to be.
It was good, dude.
I mean, he was a good dude.
I knew him pretty well.
Regarding districts, I think that's there's probably not a district in America that's left misshapen, so to speak. And I think at the heart of districting, I understand, because there's some places that are not populated. I get it, but man, poetic license.
Speaking of weird shapes, you ever notice that Connecticut has like a weird notch in it up by Enfield?
Yeah.
Do you know why that's there?
I don't, and I can't wait for you to tell me.
Trisha, do you know?
Body of water? I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't even know where Enfield is.
It's up by Massachusetts. And I'm not going to go into a long story about it, but it had to do with this fight between Massachusetts and Connecticut and the settlement around the areas. So they gave this particular little square to Massachusetts in exchange to keep like Suffield and Enfield and that whole area. That's the boring version of the story. It
sounds like there was some negotiations. Sounds like politicking to me.
I mean, yeah, there was some negotiation, and that was back in a time when people could sit and constructively communicate politically back and forth.
We can still do that, sort of.
Well, I think the more local you get, the more able you are to do it. The higher up you get, I don't think it's left up to choice anymore.
Well, as Liz and I can attest to, I mean, we come from different sides of the aisle, and we've always been able to work productively with one another, even while disagreeing.
100%.
Well, probably you're on different sides of the aisle.
Why did you give that look?
You're not on different sides of the spectrum.
You what?
You guys are on different sides of the aisle, but not on different opposite ends of the spectrum. I believe the further away you go from the middle, the less conversation there is able to have. And I feel like now politics, you're being pulled to the ends. Moderate middle is being so.
But with that said,
polarized.
I just want to point some things out that I'm a moderate. And I have a lot of friends in the moderate caucus, but they're all Democrats. But when I work with the Republicans, there are some actually really, really great Republicans in the legislature that I love. My ranking member, Robin Green of the Children's Committee, I mean, she's a trusted friend, and I reach out to her all the time. So I think that as long as someone is out, what I believe is to do the right thing and to listen, and be willing to be open-minded, it doesn't really matter what party you're from.
What level do you think that stops? Because I don't see that in the upper echelons. I don't.
If you look at some of the legislation that Chris Murphy has put forward, he has worked with Republicans before. I think sometimes, when the television cameras are rolling, it looks a little different. You want to appeal to your base, and I think that's unfortunate. But a lot of times, it's when the cameras are off and you got to work together, you work together. Now, I'm going to be really honest and tell you, there are quite a few people who you just can't do that with, and I've run into those too. I've actually been known to chase someone down the stairs and say, "You're going to love me. You just wait." Trying to
whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna wrestle you till you love me, right here on the floor.
Can we hug?
This is gonna be.
I'm thinking of the joke is I have to buy him some beef jerky because apparently he loves beef jerky. So everyone's like, just bring him some beef jerky. He'll warm right up to you. I'm like, that's a little weird. I can't do that.
So
what's a little beef jerky amongst friends?
Right. I'm going to bring you some beef jerky, Trisha.
Okay.
See? Cool. Bring it over. All right.
I'd rather jelly beans.
Okay,
ice cream would be awesome.
I'm going to bring you beef jerky jelly beans.
Okay, maybe my husband will eat them.
Terrible.
I know.
Does it sound terrible? I would save those till after the black licorice even.
So Liz, if you haven't figured out, this isn't going to be the most serious of episodes or serious of things you've ever done because
everything's so serious.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood for serious, but I just want to real quick.
Yeah.
Last time we had you on we did a service and we shared a lot of information about COVID, and we had Dr. Wu on, and
who was great.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's coming back.
Good.
So, how much has changed since then? That was back in March.
So much has changed. You know, when I came in March, we were just beginning, and the governor was starting his executive orders, and they were really based on keeping everyone safe, and we were all agreeing and working together, and it was great. And now as we've moved along, there's been some bumps in the road, but I've continued my work, which essentially is I'm keeping my head down and I'm helping people. And so it's constant. And so as things change, really it's because more information comes out. And so they are changing quite a bit just because we know more. So we have to do more. And but at the same time, things are really kind of staying the same because there are people who are in situations that they're scared and that they don't have any money and they have to put food on the table. And so kind of a combination, I guess.
How have you been doing as far as not only your health, but your general sanity and your home life? Things good?
What a really nice question. Nobody ever asks about me. So thank you. I appreciate that. How's my sanity? You know, I guess it's as good as can possibly be. The kids, I have 3 kids, as you know, they are young. They're 11 and under, 11, 8, and 7. And so
you're actively homeschooling.
And then a full-time job and just trying to actively homeschooling. It's not easy.
Or distance learning, sorry.
Respect for teachers, but now it's even so much more. It's hard. It's really hard. And just today, my son was supposed to do a creative writing piece and he got really mad. He goes, come and see what I wrote. Because I'm going in between 3 kids, So I walk over to his computer and it was like, nope, nuh-uh, no way, see ya. And then he just like slammed the top down and ran outside and went and laid by the pool. He was like, I'm done. And I'm not going to argue with that. Okay, you're done. Like, especially given my background and what I've been working on for the past few years, I'm going to make sure that my kids are in, a good state of mental health.
Yeah.
Because it's hard. It's hard for that. You think it's hard for adults. Imagine how kids feel when they don't really understand what's going on. They have no control over their environment. And so, he had a freak out. I don't blame him.
Well, I think we're all entitled to that. I have like 4 a day.
You have what?
4 freakouts a day.
Oh, well, good for you. Let it go.
I think I'm having one right now, actually.
Nah, that's not a freak out. I've seen freak outs. That's a freak out. My son actually, the other day, went to serious meltdown. And he started, we had someone coming, Rich Pruitt came and took out some giant weeds that grew around our yard. And he was doing some work. Connor just had a fit. And he started screaming at him, murderer, you're murdering the earth. It was like this epic meltdown. And then afterwards, he was the best kid ever. And for the past 3 days now, he's like self-directed with the distance learning, and he's cleaning, and he
popped the cork.
He just needed to let it go, and it was epic and spectacular. And I just thought to myself, man, I wish I could do that. Just let it go. Call people murderers.
At least it didn't break anything. At least there wasn't a point where you had to be like, all right, that's enough. That's about where you have to stop. Just that would be a little.
Luckily, we didn't get there.
Yeah, because you could. These times, I feel like breaking stuff sometimes.
I punch things. That's honestly what that's a reaction I have. So we have a heavy bag in the basement.
Yeah, so that
nice.
Works.
Yeah.
Heavy bags are good.
I clean the heck out of stuff.
Why don't you get really, really angry and come over my house? Then you can clean.
It's hard to clean like I do with a mask. I need all the oxygen I can get.
I hear that.
Yeah. So what have you been doing to keep yourself busy aside from beating on a heavy bag?
Honestly, there has been really nothing but work. So I mean, and I'm not complaining, right? Because I'm very fortunate to be able to do what I do, and I absolutely love being able to help people. But it is, and this is literal, no exaggeration, from the moment I wake up till the moment I go to bed. So it's usually I'll wake up at like 6 a.m. and pick up my phone and start answering questions. And usually it's a lot of unemployment issues. And then that goes through all the way till 1 or 2 in the morning. You know, last night at 1 o'clock in the morning, I posted some up. And a constituent is like, "What are you doing? It's 1 o'clock in the morning."
Well, I think I have some texts from you at that time too. So
I'm sorry. Really, I apologize.
It's fine.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
But I got to get in every hour, you know, and
you got to do it when you're remembering to do it too.
That's actually a really big thing. So if someone messages me at midnight, I have to message back, or I might not.
It'll be 3 days later, and you're like,
messages down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then somebody will post a nasty gram about you not responding to their text message on the forum.
That's been very rare, though. If you've noticed, that's not my jam. I don't let things go.
But that's not your.
I know.
Listen, that is not you. You should be held to the same standard as everybody else on your level of the podium. Correct? You should be. You should be.
Not.
You're not.
But I'm not. Let's talk about reality.
I see people asking you questions from out of state and demanding you answer them on the forum, and they're in like they're in a different part of Connecticut, let alone a different state. And I'm not the one who they're speaking to, but I'm reading it and I'm like, that's some nerve.
Well,
that's some nerve.
However, though, let's think about it this way. It's also someone who is going through something really difficult, and they can't put food on the table, and they haven't gotten an unemployment check, and no one is answering them. And if I'm the only one that's willing to answer you at 1 o'clock in the morning, they're desperate. And so I remember that, so I don't really get angry. You know,
it's just it's just unfair to you as a person outside of your efficiency bubble. That. It's almost the burden. So everybody's going through this crisis, right? Everybody's going through it. We're all going through it on different levels. Some have income coming in, some don't. Some are small business owners, some are parents, some are but everybody's going through it. And you're going through it too. You're a mom, you're a distance learner coach at this point.
My husband is going to work every day, and I'm terrified.
And yet now you have to handle not just the 103rd district, but you're handling requests from, I would love to see a map light up with points of all the people that you've helped. Do that. You should, because you know why? And I don't mean to disparage any other politician or any other leader in a time of crisis, but all of your workloads should be honestly divided by your lines, your congressional lines, and they're not. So I appreciate that you do that, but I feel for you as a mom, as a wife, as a thinker, and as an efficient person. From 6 a.m. to 1 a.m., that's a lot.
Well, I will tell you this, that in the last few weeks, there were a few representatives who had asked, "Hey, if you get anyone, just send them my way." So I do that. And so now in the past couple of weeks, if someone is not in my district, I will send them to the representative, but I will say,
feel bad doing that?
And I feel awful. But I had a colleague sit me down and actually be like, "This is not sustainable." And they were right. They were absolutely right. And so now I send them off, but I won't just say, "I'm not your rep." I actually
that's not my table.
No, I send an email to the rep and the constituent, and I answer all their questions, and then I give information on how to get the food from their nearest food pantry in case that they can't put food on the table. I want to make sure that they've got some food, and then I say, "If you don't hear anything back in 3 days, call me." And then if they don't hear anything back in 3 days, they call me, and then I just handle it.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian. Bye, Brian.
And Trish says hi. Trisha's on there. Say hi. Hi, Trisha. There you go. Sorry, I'm putting his headphone back in.
No, it's okay.
I don't mean to belabor.
I'm appreciating what's going on behind you. It looks like you got a volleyball game going on. It looks like Brian's cooking back and forth. Yeah.
No, you know what's awesome? My neighbor has the best setup. He's got a batting cage.
Oh, is that what that is? I can't tell.
Yeah. It's coolest. I'm so jealous.
Nice.
My neighbor has a house full of college kids.
Yes. It's coming this weekend at Trisha's backyard.
Today,
it's the Daytona 500 Speedway.
Last night, today. And college kids, I know there's a big culture. There's a big culture war going on right now with, socially distancing, physically distancing, mask wearing, and stay at home.
Mm-hmm.
And a large part of the culture war has to do with age groups. And the college age group is not a very conservative age group. And physical
but what
distancing
were you like at
really,
that age? You wouldn't do it either.
I don't know.
You felt like nothing could happen to you. You drove fast. You partied hard. Yeah, that's actually brain chemistry. So the brain development, the prefrontal cortex doesn't fully develop until the age of 26, and that's the area that makes judgment calls.
Risk-taking.
So those college kids, their brain just hasn't developed to a point where they can really weigh the risks and the benefits, and that's why we see that kind of. I'll be fine. Spring break.
I'm waiting for mine.
They're in a
mine
residential neighborhood, so I hope that eventually dawns on them because it's difficult.
When does it happen, Liz?
It's never going to happen for you, Corey.
Oh, all right. Shit.
It depends on how you spent your adolescence, I suppose. Maybe you did some damage.
So I'm super careful now. Let's just put it that way. I've lived that life already.
I have someone who I get second opinions on all my judgments from. That's my husband. He has a much better frontal lobe development than I did. I did this. Was that a good idea? I just hope he says yes. I'm starting to ask him before I do things, but it's hard when you're impulsive.
Hey, Bri. Who makes better choices, Bri? You or me? He's laughing at me.
He's a scientist.
He's like leaping over the couch. Don't send that email.
We need that sometimes.
The funniest part is Trisha said she said her husband makes better choices or whatever, yet he still allowed you to go through with this whole thing with me.
He doesn't say in the choice. I ask his advice and I weigh it accordingly. It depends on what's on my side of the scale. I didn't say he had more voice than I did.
Yes. Well,
with parenting, that's total 50-50 because I'm like the irrational, like, what? And he's like, well, let's think about this. What would work better long term? And why do you think they did that? And I'm like, so together we come up with it's perfect.
I just remembered a story. I just remembered a story about Trisha's house that I want to share.
Uh-oh.
Ready,
you didn't
Trisha?
check this with me.
No,
okay.
I totally didn't check it with you. So I got a phone call or text, same difference.
Text, most likely.
So I get a text that says, "Hey Corey, do you have metal clippers, metal cutters?"
I needed metal snips.
I said, yeah. Yeah, I have. Why? And she sent the next picture is a photo of a air conditioning vent, and she's like, duct work. Sorry, the duct, and she's got it like circled in the text, and she's like, we think the phone, is right here because we can hear it ringing.
My son's iPhone.
They dropped the phone down the vent, and it was in the air conditioning
intake vent. Right. It was intake from his room, and he didn't have his case on, so his phone was like the thickness of a piece of paper, and it fell off the bed in such a way. I was sitting in the living room, and I heard it. And I knew exactly what it was.
So I let her borrow them, and then I get a text back, half hour later, success.
It was a jackpot too. It wasn't just the iPhone.
It wasn't just the iPhone. It was a Nintendo DS too.
There was a DS in there. It was like
it's like Christmas in your vent.
He never said a word because I guess the DS isn't as important as the phone. But we get it open and it's just like poof, 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 poof. It was like we had the electronics check on.
So funny.
Corey.
I was happy to help.
Thanks for the snips. I returned them right away too.
You did. It was great. People don't usually return tools that quickly.
Yeah, that's something I'm bad at. I'll be honest with you.
You what?
Keep that in mind. I learned if you need to borrow stuff, you return it. So that way the next time you need to borrow it, people are less hesitant to be like, oh, okay. And I just treat your garage like an extension of my own.
Oh, that's fine.
You have all the tools.
What'd you need the other day? Masks?
Oh, yeah. My husband spiked a fever for 12 hours. I panicked.
Yeah, like, come get him.
Can we talk about masks? I want Corey's mask.
Yeah, we can't.
Did he send you a picture of the mask?
I did.
Yes,
I did. She did.
I dare you. I dare you.
No, I'm not putting it on here.
No, I want Liz to put it on at like her next. Like,
oh no!
Her next, her next conference. She's gonna rock it.
Yeah.
That's when you've had it. That's when you're like, I'm done with this world. I cannot answer one more email. You put that on. That's your like your white flag moment.
Oh no, I can see it now. I put that on here and it's captured on YouTube and we broadcast it and the letters to the editor will be insane.
There's no letters to any editor.
It would be a mailer. It would be a mailer. It would be a mailer against me.
Except to be facing you, they could make so many GIFs and memes. They would meme the hell out of that.
Oh, that'd be funny as hell.
Don't get any ideas with Photoshop, Corey.
So
no permission for that.
So luckily, before this episode, you received your party's nomination, right?
I did. Yep, I did. Isn't that nice?
So you'll be running again.
I am.
This will be your third time?
Fourth.
It'll be third time as state representative. Yes.
Oh, I thought it was fourth.
No, third
election.
I know, it just was like a really long time. Huh. It's my fourth time running. I lost the first time I ran because I found out early in the campaign that I was pregnant with Finnegan. And I was so pregnant that I literally went knocking, you have to door knock, and I knocked on someone's door, and I swear this is true. She came to the door with a cigarette in hand and a frying pan in the air that had a full fish with the eyes and everything. And she's like, "What do you want?" And I just vomited all over her.
Oh, no.
And the kid with me didn't know what to do. He was like, "I'm sorry, man." And he's got a bottle of water and and it just keeps coming up. And then I vomited nonstop for 3 weeks after that. So I was like, now might be a good time to tell you I'm pregnant. But the Speaker of the House at the time called me and he's like, "You're pregnant?" And I said, "Yeah, but it's cool. I just need a couple, some help for a couple of weeks and then I'll get back right on the trail. I just have to get over this morning sickness thing." And instead of sending help, he pulled all my funding and he pulled any help and he left me there. And I lost because I had no help for the campaign. And when I ran again and won my first year in, I actually passed the law regarding pregnancy protections in the workplace, that they need to make accommodations for pregnant women to ensure that she can continue to do her job. It's actually groundbreaking legislation, to tell you the truth. So we're really proud of that. So it's like something happens to you in life and then you turn it into something. Lemonade.
Well, when you are provided an opportunity to stick up for yourself in the legislative level, that's powerful. What is the culture war going on right now with masks, and why is it a culture war raging with masks? Why am I seeing it such a political? Why is it such a political vein? I don't understand.
I don't either. Please make it make sense.
Is it not? And anti-vaxxing isn't necessarily a political vein, and a lot of the anti-maskers can. I'm so confused.
It's that same group. They see it as freedoms. But what they don't recognize is that your freedom to do what you want is not limited only to you. It also affects others. And that's the concern. So your freedoms stop when they impede on the lives of others in a negative way, right?
Sure.
So that I think that's the line. That's the problem.
That's the line that we're having a war over,
a
culture war over it.
In my opinion, yeah.
But it's causing people to shoot people.
Yep.
People are becoming violent after being told they have to wear a mask. That's anger. That's deep.
So
something's going on there. That's more than just.
You know what it is, Trish, is
what is it?
People are they're scared.
I'm sure fear is a big part of it.
It's fear-based. And when people get scared, they react irrationally.
There's a lot of very scared people. Not all of those people are going to the store with their camera ready without a mask to engage in that angry debate, to put it online.
That is how they too are handling their fear.
That makes them feel better. The confrontation
makes
them feel better.
It gets them out of. I mean, I might.
The vast majority aren't doing that.
Really, tell me that, because what I hear about is. Tell me, how do we know? How do we know who's the silent and who's the big and who's the small?
I think in the era of the 24-hour news cycle, you're never going to know that, because it's whoever's making the stink at the time that's going to
the
get
loudest
the play,
noise,
right?
Yeah,
and the loudest noise, and we saw that with the vaccination debate.
Man,
the news would say thousands of people descended upon the Capitol to say we want our freedoms. But what the news didn't understand is it definitely wasn't thousands of people. People were bussed in from out of state, so there were a lot of them weren't even Connecticut residents, and they were just louder than the people who. If they did a poll saying who across the state believes in vaccinations for school-age children for entrance to school, and like a whopping 98% said that they believe in that. So I'm just kind of.
It's confusing, right?
I'm not 100% sure what it is, but it's a lot, right? Yeah. So we live in an era where the news cycle goes so fast, and so the idea is to get a really good story on TV and to make it really interesting, or to put something out on social media to get a bunch of likes. That doesn't necessarily represent the majority of people.
But don't you think that affects the way people think?
An angry email come in to me. Yeah, I do. It
can change minds.
Unfortunate. And it's so hard to change minds. I have to be really honest with you. I'd love to tell you that everybody that comes in that disagrees with me, that I can write an email or have a conversation with them and convince them otherwise. That's really rarely the case.
Sure.
But what I can tell you is that the majority of people that contact me are contacting me for the same thing, right? So let's take the salon owners. They're very angry right now. But I will also say that I've received hundreds of separate emails from salon workers who don't want to go in.
Workers versus employers.
I'm sorry?
There we go. You're bringing up a huge topic right now, which is employers, employees, and consumers. That's a huge, that's huge right now, because the states are opening and the media is covering a lot of back to work stuff, and everybody, you think that's the majority of people, but then you ask around and you're like, is anybody going to the restaurants?
No. And so one of the things that I'm focusing on, I don't know, very early on in the process, I made a commitment to my constituents that I wasn't going to spout off with my opinion, that in the midst of a crisis, what we need are facts and trustworthy information. And so that's all I've done publicly, is put out information that people can trust. In response to that, I've gotten questions from people who need more information. The vast majority of people that are contacting me to ask me to keep the state closed. By the way, I have nothing to do with that. That's the governor's purview, and we can talk about that after. But they're not ready to go out yet. so now, given the number of people that have told me that, I am shaping my information to make sure that they are feeling some level of consumer confidence. As long as I give them the facts and cut through the rhetoric, then they can make their own decision. And that's how consumer confidence is grown. So when I tell people that these are the guidelines and the rules that we have set up for businesses, when I get an epidemiologist to say, this is how the disease spreads, and when I get someone from the Department of Labor to say, this is what your right is as an employee, these are all facts that will allow someone to get back into reopening the state with some sort of confidence. And to me, that is my job right now. I'm not going to, I know that some people are out there stomping their feet and beating their chest about certain things and how they feel. That's not my job. It's not to tell you right now how I feel. What my job is to give you the information that you need to make the best decision for you and your family.
And get an understanding of what your constituents' concerns are.
Always. That's always what I do. And as you know, and you can attest, is that I spend a great deal of time asking constituents how they feel and what they need.
The unemployment stuff. I know that Connecticut was, I want to say, averagely late to the game as far as processing. So I think we've jumped over that hurdle. And I know Connecticut's numbers came in real big in the last job report. So I'm feeling that they went through a lot of the unemployment applications and a lot of people are receiving the help that they need. A majority of people at this point. Still working on it, still backlogged.
It's still a work in progress. So let me give you some background. As far as all the states are concerned, everyone is really having this problem. There has been no state that's immune to problems of having such a large group of people apply for benefits when it's usually a third of that for an entire year, right? So
right. Within weeks, a week.
Within weeks. So there's going to be some backlog. That's just the way it is. The state of Connecticut has a 40-year-old computer system that would deal with these, with the claims. Under Governor Malloy, he did put forth a plan to upgrade that system. The upgrade was actually happening when COVID hit. So that has put us in a bit of a precarious situation in that the whole system could collapse under the weight of the people who are filing for benefits. Because of that, we have an intense bug. We have, I keep saying we, it's not like the Department of Labor, but the Department of Labor has gotten through a great deal of those in terms of regular unemployment benefits. Those are pretty much caught up, although there are still some problems. But those problems are usually on the user side, and we have to go in and manually fix them, which is a lot of the work that I do. Someone has a problem as their claim has been held, and I contact DOL and I make sure that they get their money. With that, we then had to go into the PUA system, pandemic unemployment, which comes from the federal government, which is for gig workers and self-employed. That has been a giant mess. And it's partially because of our old system. It doesn't talk to the federal system. It's also because it gave information that was really not easy to follow. So there's been some speed bumps there.
And that's a new system too.
Probably it's a system. We're experiencing big problems with that. That's where most of my problems lie right now. And that for me, if someone contacts me, I can usually fix that in about 2 weeks. And that's a long time to go without money. So, and additionally, there is from the federal government a 13-week extension. Well, that's not up yet. And the Department of Labor has promised that it should be out by Memorial Day. And I put out a post today saying what the Department of Labor said, and then was very honest with my constituents, as I always am, and said I've got about a 60% confidence level that will happen. So that's why I'm urging people to continue to contact me if you have a personal problem, because I will utilize my contacts to get you what you need. But by and large, there are still some problems within the system.
With unemployment, this is another vein off of unemployment.
Yeah.
If a business opens and you have your employees coming back to work, if they're coming into an empty restaurant and they're not making the tips, their hours are reduced. But you're open, so now they're coming back in. What happens with that with unemployment?
So there's a few things that could happen. Unemployment, it does allow you to work some, right? And you would just have to put in your hours every time you go to file on Sunday night. So if you normally have a 40-hour job, but because the business isn't there and you put in 20 hours, you can still get a percentage of your unemployment to make up for those 20 hours lost. However, if you work 40 hours, but you are still making significantly less because the tips aren't there and the patronage isn't there, you cannot receive money to make up for that. It's really based on your ability to work and how many hours you are. And then additionally, there's the problem where what if your job was offered back to you and you are 65 years old and you have health problems and your job is to be out in front in the flick and you're concerned for your health? That's having trouble with too.
Or your kids are not at school.
So the federal CARES Act said if your children, if you have to stay home to take care of your children, then you are covered under unemployment. However, school is out soon. So now the question becomes unemployment because the kids are out of school, right? What would you normally do in the summer? So that we have to work that out too. We don't know how the CARES Act will apply.
And day camps aren't officially open yet.
Right.
They will be though. They will be June 20th.
Reduced,
they are allowed to open
enrollment.
Reduced enrollment, small groups. There's just major changes that are happening, and camps are finding it but workable. But then, like I said, there's also that worker who's without kids, who's just scared to go to work. Those will be determined on a case-by-case basis. So what would happen is you would file for unemployment, it would be denied, you would ask for a, what's the word I'm looking for?
Extension?
You ask,
review?
No, I don't know why the word's escaping me. Yeah, like a review, right? And so
an appeal?
Appeal?
Whatever. The appeal! That was killing me. Thank you. Yeah, so you file an appeal.
See how serious we get so quickly?
My brain.
Well, I'm trying.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
I'm trying to get out of the seriousness because.
Well, it's important because people.
It is important.
Their kids.
No.
Yes, I know it's important, and
but we're trying to get people what they need.
Yeah,
we'll leave it at
and
that.
it's a case. It's anecdotal, right? It's a case by case.
It's case by case.
I'm fearful what the next couple of years looks like. You know,
is that where you are? You think years?
Oh yeah.
You think it's because of your plant-based diet, or is it because of COVID? What are you afraid of?
No.
You're afraid of missing bacon?
It's a financial. It's a financial thing.
Okay.
I'm worried about because
the economy.
Yeah. Because I don't.
It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and
But we're talking. We're not only talking American economy. We're talking worldwide economy.
The worldwide economy started to go down before ours did. We were one of the last men standing. And we're in such denial. We might come back quicker. Our stock market's doing pretty well.
Yeah.
You know what? The stock market is doing all right.
That's the investors. That's not the employees.
It's true.
So I want to really say something that people need to
hold on.
realize.
Let me touch on the stock market thing for a second, okay? Because the stocks are based on earnings and earnings reports and all that stuff, correct? In its basic form. And
based on investing.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but you invest in a company, and if their earnings go up, their stock goes up, and blah blah blah. Right?
I think that the majority of stockholders are actually the companies that are in the stock market.
So the thing about it is, you can report positive numbers right now when you've got a reduced workforce. I mean, a lot of these companies have furloughed employees.
Your
a lot of these
overhead's
companies,
smaller.
have laid employees off. So of course their earnings might be up or increased or balanced. But what's going to happen in 6 months, in a year? I mean, this is why I've pulled out some of my money from the stock market, because
us too.
We haven't.
You're going to suddenly have employees going back to work, and the checks and balances are going to come to pass, and then what? Are we looking at 2008 again?
No. Here's what we have to think about. So you're right that earnings reports are hugely important to the stock market, but there's so many other things that go into it: the overall unemployment rate,
confidence,
and confidence, and you hit the nail right on the head. So I think that's why I'm so focused right now on consumer confidence, right? And we need to talk about ways to make people feel comfortable buying again. And I will always say this: the only way to make people feel comfortable is to tell them the truth. They know when you're, and so, is it going to take years? I mean, I think to get back to where we were, yes. Do I believe unequivocally that we're in trouble for years? No, I'm not there yet. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be easy, especially here in the state of Connecticut. However, there are a great many people who are saying Connecticut's bankrupt. You know what? No, Connecticut is not bankrupt. Words have meaning and words matter, and we have to stop saying that we're bankrupt when we're not. We have one of the largest rainy day funds in the country. Moody has rated Connecticut, I think, as the 7th best state to withstand this issue of COVID. But short term. So we need to get in and do some fixes that are not going to ruin us long term, right? So we can weather the storm, but we can't do things that make the storm last longer. And so balancing the reopening of the economy is hugely important. Reopening too soon would be a setback. And then you've got people unemployed for longer when we have to reclose.
Do you feel we're opening up too soon?
That's a tough one.
It is a tough one, and I want to choose my words carefully.
Well, it freaked me out to drive by Virons and see it packed with people.
Agreed. Okay, agreed.
That's
me.
And
so that's why it's like a line, right? Mm-hmm. Do I think we are reopening too soon? No. Am I concerned that we're reopening too much too soon? Yes. So let's keep in mind, Connecticut actually kept approximately 30% of our economy open even during the shutdown.
Right.
Manufacturing was open, construction was open, and these are really big sectors of the economy. We kept retail open if you do takeout, curbside, and then we had restaurants do takeout. And so I think that as long as we keep an eye on the data and we have a governor who's not afraid to pump the brakes, mm-hmm. which so far he's shown he's willing
what would
to do.
Cause him to, what's a brake pumping thing? Now that we're in it, we stepped off the curb. What's a brake pumping step?
I had a phone call with the administration earlier this week, and that was an exact question I asked. And the answer was, we're not putting a number on it because there's so many moving parts. And you're going to know it when you see it. And so you have to watch the numbers. Is it hospitalization? Is it death? Is it a percentage of positives to numbers of tests? Is it spikes in certain areas? And the answer is yes to all of those things. Is there a number that we get to that we have to pull back? I'm sure there will be, but that's in conjunction with the timing and the spike and the location. And so there's no one set of numbers that you can say, we hit here, that's when we're going to shut down. I don't think it's there.
I think the hospitals being overwhelmed or on the verge of overwhelming is pretty much the emergency brake.
That's a given.
Right. That's the emergency brake. But there's steps.
But is that when it gets too far? Right. So if you're overwhelming your hospitals, does that mean we should have done something sooner?
the anger of people right now, I don't know if anything less is compelling. I just feel that's where we are.
We're dealing with shutdown fatigue, quarantine fatigue, and
Absolutely.
people want to get out there. But the problem is that we're going to start to see a spike in cases. It's known we're going to see that. So
history repeats itself.
Make sure that we're watching those. Yeah, and so I want to. I'm going to pull something up because I did post
Corey's
something.
Safe in space. Corey's safe in his space station.
Listen, I've stepped off planet Earth. This is my new apartment.
You didn't take us with you. I'm so mad at you.
No, I'm on. I don't even know what ship I'm on. I asked somebody to beam me up.
Captain Corey.
They responded back with wrong movie, asshole, and now I'm on. Here.
Immediately, I thought of the Michael Jackson video that he did with Janet.
That was a great video.
Scream.
Yeah,
I figured Scream. That was a great video.
Yeah. So here's how we change the subject. We just change backgrounds. And this is the thing to do here.
Oh, that was a good conversation,
Before you change the subject, I really want to give you guys some numbers that aren't boring. So
look at the dog. Look at the dog. Oh, where'd he go?
She opens the door by herself. She'll stand up and
just opening
the door.
A dog.
Yeah, my dog does. Look, that's Sunny Marie.
Did she just go in? Oh,
I think Brian the door, so she can't get in. She'll howl. But so in the beginning of the crisis, everyone kept saying just like the flu, right?
Oh gosh!
And I kept saying no, it's not. It's not like the flu.
Only 10 times more deadly.
So now that we are reopening, I just want to remind people of something, okay? The number of flu deaths in the last full flu season, which was October 2018 to the end of May 2019, there were 88 deaths. COVID-related deaths as of today, from March 1st to today, is 3,582. And then we have positive flu tests from October 2018 to May 2019 were 10,619. Positive COVID tests as of the taping of this are 39,108.
Do you have flu comparison fatigue?
No,
I do.
Because I never get tired of numbers.
Because if someone says how many times can you say to somebody, it's not the same? Oh, it's true. Those are good stats to share because people are still saying it.
Well, I had somebody the other day compare this to opioid abuse, and I simply replied back with, "I've never gone to Stop and Shop fearing I was going to come home a drug addict."
That's true.
Well, there are car accidents
very good
too, Corey. Are you not going to ever get in a car again?
I mean, I got to.
And how come people don't want to wear a mask, but they're okay wearing seatbelts? They're okay observing traffic lights.
Nemo!
I don't understand the fight.
Nemo!
It's all to discredit. I don't understand it. I wish I did. I wish I had a better understanding.
Nemo!
Corey, stop screaming for your imaginary fish friend, please.
Nemo!
Not even your fish are talking to.
Nemo!
Yeah.
I'm trying to find Nemo.
As we were sitting here talking, I just received an email saying that another person has gotten their unemployment, and it was a 4-week backlog. So they just got a ton of money, and so yay! Let's say
they're going to Disneyland. No,
yeah, they're able to feed their family. So,
they can go to Costco. They have a mask policy. Costco has a full-on mask policy.
Well,
they will be getting my grocery money.
They can because they're members only, and they're not considered a.
Sounds safe to me.
Still have one. You could still have one even if you're not a members only place. You can refuse a mask, and that's especially important under the governor's executive order.
Are you sure?
Because it's all over the YouTube right now.
Because
I'm 100% sure.
Well, talk into that a little bit because there's
no shirt, no shoes, no service. Same thing.
No shirt, no shoes, no mask, no service.
Exactly.
I want to test that one day and just go into a restaurant and be like,
"You're wearing a mask but no shirt."
Yeah,
a mask and nothing else. That's against my rights to make me wear underwear.
You can
Where
wear
my
your
rights stop
homemade
and your rights
mask
begin.
as underwear.
It is my right to not have
He
to
should
wear
his
a
underwear
shirt.
as his mask. That'll help knock him right out.
It's
that's
just
funny.
it's just amusing when people forget such simple things like
Well, I think
no shirt, no
media
shoes, no service.
media gets right now written in such a way that it's trying to cause sensationalism. Not right now, it's always been happening. But one of the things that's really triggering, it's really touching the pulse of the country, is people infringing on other people's rights. And I think it's been so muddied. The water has been so muddied with special interests like the NRA and pharma. They just have muddied the water with giving people these who aren't reading the Constitution. They're giving them these false ideas that turn into false ideals, and then they try to step on your rights.
Yeah.
With while they're cloaked in a flag, and it's a slippery slope, and education's the only way out of it. But
you can only educate people that are going to listen.
Education has nothing to do with whether you listen or not. Facts are facts.
You can't. You could talk facts all day. If somebody's not willing to listen, they're not going to pay attention to facts.
I know, and honestly, their argument has very little to do with fact. It's all feeling.
Yeah, but
so you know what? You can't throw facts at someone's anger.
You know what's a fact? You know what's a fact?
What, Corey?
A fact is time keeps moving on, and time keeps moving forward. And time has moved on.
Quarter after.
Time has moved on, and we have passed an hour. Yep.
I know you're signing off, and I'm ruining your sign off, but I do have to mention one thing, Corey.
What?
The next time I talk to the governor's office, I am going to ask if your beer trading party can be opened in phase 2.
Oh, look at you.
I have seen the most incredible ideas for socially distanced beer and wine tasting parties. It's on Zoom and someone distributes them all in tastings. I've seen some
Send them to me, and I'm going to make sure that it's okay. All right, now sign off.
Well, there's some cool stuff developing related to beer, but we can talk about that at another time. But I think you
always have something. You always have a finger in the pie, Corey.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. All right, everybody.
So no politics for you, Corey? There's a deadline that passed. I'm not letting that go. Yeah, what happened?
No, I have. I have talked about the fact that I'm very interested in getting involved in politics, and there's a certain time that needs to pass before I can do that properly and successfully.
Like this quarantine. Don't get in now. I don't know how you're doing it. Liz.
No, I can't now.
That's a lot of hats. No.
It takes.
Crushed.
I want my youngest son to be a certain age before I get involved.
I get that.
Fair enough.
I get that completely.
And I think, frankly, and nothing against Liz. Liz knows I'm not making fun of anybody or teasing anybody. I'm
okay with it, but okay.
No. We all think things differently, and we all are entitled to do things differently. My personal feeling is I want to be involved in politics at a point where my children are old enough for me to explain some of the things that will happen while I'm in politics.
To them, that they'll see, you mean?
That they'll
hear.
And it has to be very, very difficult to have young children and be in politics, because your kids will see things about their parent that it's not as easy to explain to a 7 or 10-year-old.
Getting worse by the year too.
As it is to explain to a 16 or 17-year-old. That's all I'm saying. I don't think there's anything.
You're 100% right.
Right.
You've lived through this personally.
Right. And that's and I know it can be a touchy subject. It could be very difficult. I completely respect Liz and any other parent who is currently in the political landscape, and
even more kudos for fighting that fight.
It has to be very, very difficult and sometimes maddening. And it's just it's something I don't want to have to deal with right now. And that's why I've kept my hat out of the ring, if you will. That's it.
So,
and
I think
everybody reacts
really
differently.
Yeah.
Everybody reacts differently to kids being affected.
Mm-hmm.
My kids literally received a message from her peers telling her that I'm the reason why she wouldn't be able to go to school next year because I'm pro-vaccination.
Yes.
You know what that does to an 11-year-old?
Yes, I do.
Wrong. Wrong. Yeah.
Yes. So, you know, that's it. And again, utmost respect for people who are in it, just like yourself. It's just something I don't think I could do.
Well, I hope I'm around long enough to see you in there with me because, you know, I might have to break the rules and ask you to be cross-endorsed by my party. I mean, that's how great I think you would be.
What would you run as? You'd run as a Republican?
I don't know.
You could be an independent.
You don't affiliate anymore?
As a Republican.
I'm a registered Republican. I'm not afraid to talk about that because I'm a man of my own ideas and my own ideals. I don't
all that means is you get to vote in the Republican primary. That's all that means.
I don't toe party lines, and I wouldn't toe party lines for any party or, you know, I mean, one of the greatest experiences of my life was being in a rock and roll band. And the thing I learned in that was everybody has input and everybody's idea matters. Okay. And sometimes your ideas don't match up and they don't sync. So your idea gets scrapped and maybe set aside for another song because your chorus that you came up doesn't match the verse properly or the bridge doesn't fit. So you set it aside. And then the next time, maybe that idea comes out and it works in this song. But you work as a team and you listen to each other's ideas and beautiful things get created. I mean, I think it's the perfect analogy for writing bills and working on anything, any law or anything in government or any situation. Whether you're working at Popeyes and making biscuits, or you're sitting up in the halls of government writing a new law. You have to sit and listen to different opinions and figure out what works properly, what fits, and what trim the fat for something else down the line. I don't know.
There are just some things. There's some things that I just wouldn't be able to. I would never be good in politics. There's some things that I'd never be able to negotiate on that are still being negotiated. And I don't know how people do it, but I get it. I get it.
Yeah,
there has to be compromise on equity in pay. There has to be compromise on equity in education. I don't know where
that's
people
my jam. Like I'm that person that finds that middle ground. I do. I'm a very good negotiator. I can compromise. You have to, but I'm not
easy. So, well, anyway, listen.
I wait for that day.
It's been a fun evening. It's time to go now. Tricia and I have other work we have to do. We have things we have to handle. So,
well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for coming and speaking to us. And as usual, bringing your honesty with you, because that's truly what it's all about.
Oh, wait,
and
she's opening the door again.
She wants to go in.
Still locked.
I'll nice.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching and thank you for listening. And this has been another episode of the Cheshire Cast. If you like us on Facebook, that's awesome. Go ahead and give us a like. Like us on YouTube, click subscribe, ring the bell, like us on iTunes, on Podbean, Spotify. We are literally everywhere. And also,
Corey, did you see that Spotify just bought the licensing for the Joe Rogan podcast for $100 million?
Yeah, they could buy the licensing for our podcast for $5.
Yeah.
And a bag of chips.
You're undersold.
I'll give them a deal. No, that's awesome. So check us out on www.cheshirecast.com or the cheshirepodcast.com. Any of those things will get you to us. Check out our Patreon, become a subscriber. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on. It's going to be an interesting 2020. So make sure you follow the Cheshire Cast. And soon we'll be releasing some information about the first Cheshire Cast party, if you will. We're gonna have a big party. So stay tuned.
When all this is over.
Yeah, stay tuned and enjoy. So thanks for stopping by. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios, amigos.
Adios.